We asked for a tiger.
Someone was being a little sneaky, trying to put a target
Yeah.
on your back instead of their own.
Ninja Warrior is not the same kind of competition. This is very different because the mindset is kind of like, yeah, I can be in a team to get to the end, but people are also thinking all for themselves at the same time.
What's up, guys? It's Ava and Ivy, and today we have a very special guest. Today we're welcoming Vance to the podcast.
How you guys doing?
We're so happy to have you here. So, first off, we want to ask you, do you want to give the audience a little bit of a background on you and maybe American Ninja Warrior or things that might not have been highlighted on the show?
Okay. Yeah, I've been doing American Ninja Warrior since I was 10 years old, so about 11 years now. I've been competing on the show since I was 13.
Wow.
I was on 2 seasons of Ninja Junior back in the day, and then they lowered the age limit on Ninja Warrior down to 15, so I've been doing that ever since. And yeah, I've been doing it most of my life now.
Wow, that's awesome. 13 is absolutely wild. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's very scary when you're that young being on TV.
How did you get into it? Were you just did you just watch the show and like wanted to do it?
Yeah, so I moved to Atlanta from Houston when I was 10, and I actually went to my next door neighbor's house. He's a little bit younger than me, and the show was airing on the TV. And there was this run, it was this guy named Kevin Bull, and it was this obstacle called Cannonball Alley. Nobody had finished it yet, but there were these giant cannonballs that you have to hold on to. And this guy wraps his legs around it, starts swinging upside down, and does a backflip off of the obstacle. So I just remember watching that being like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I looked up ninja gyms near me. There was one 10 minutes from my house, so I went to a camp there. And I just kept going every single day after that.
That's so fun. I remember when I was a kid, I like really wanted to try to be an American Ninja Warrior, but I just did not. I don't know. Obviously, I didn't get into it, but I used to watch the show all the time. Yeah, it's just fun. And it's like, I want to know if I'm able to do these things. I know I'm probably not able to do most of them. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So talking a little bit more about, I mean, you have experience with being on a show, and so now you're on Beast Games. Do you feel like the edit was true to how you actually played the game?
Yes and no. Obviously, they don't show everything because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that like isn't good enough to be on TV that's happening there. But I felt mostly okay with the edit. It was pretty accurate. Obviously, there's some things where like there's a lot of drama that happens on TV and you don't get both sides of the story, but that's going to happen with anything. But yeah, I was mostly fine with how they played it out.
That's good. Yeah. So yeah, going off of that and kind of how you were portrayed in the show, obviously in episode 1, you were directly called out, at least to the viewers, that you were an American Ninja Warrior. Did you go into the game like knowing you were going to, one, either tell people about your history, or did you go in thinking like, oh, people might know me, so I can't really hide it? Like, how was that for you?
That's a good question. So I knew that some people would know, but my goal was to kind of make alliances with those people and say like, hey, try to keep this under the radar. So my goal was to not let anybody know, which worked for a while. And then people started spreading that a little late into the game. And so that kind of started making things go off the rails a little bit. I think people probably started finding out, I would say it was probably like episode 3
Oh, wow.
when people started finding out that I won. So it worked for a little bit, but not the whole.
I'm just surprised it like took that long for everybody to figure it out, though.
Yeah, there were like, I know in Vegas I was talking to everybody and people that recognized me like would come up to me and say it. So I was kind of able to easily figure out who those people were. And there were only about 5 of them. So most of them got out in Vegas. The only people that knew going into the city, I think, were Ian and Monica. So it was not nearly as many people as you would think. So I got kind of lucky there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Did you feel like Ian was gonna tell other people that you were on it?
No, not originally, but he ended up being the person that spoiled that. So
was there like a promise there between you two, since obviously you both knew?
Yeah, we met in the hotel before the first challenge in Vegas when we were doing all the B-roll and everything. So we met there and he was like, hey, Vance, I know you're from the show. I did Ninja Warrior too. So we kind of bonded before the games even started a little bit. And then, yeah, I was kind of like, okay, keep it under the radar. Like we can make it very far if people don't know that one of us like won $2 million already, because that kind of puts a target on our back. So yeah, there was not like a formal promise, but he was like, yeah, I got you. So
dang. Yeah. Interesting to hear considering how everything played out. But yeah, honestly, I expected to have you say like more people knew episode 1. So it's interesting to see how it kind of developed later in the game. And I guess
more people really might have known and just not said anything, but those are the people that I like talked to about it.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I guess it also helps that there were like Survivor players and like people from other reality shows.
People were mostly talking about the Survivor players. I know. Yeah, when especially in Vegas, people were like, okay, there's 4 Survivor people here, and they were like pointing all of them out. Like that was the big conversation, because I think Survivor is more considered like gamers and more strategic, or it's just like an athletic competition. So it's not like, oh, that person's a threat to like be smart and strong. So I think that was definitely the
Right.
main topic, was figuring out who all the Survivor people were.
Mhm.
Then I guess you could use them as shields a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, talking about the rest of episode 1, so when the OGs came out with the bribe, did you consider taking it at all, or were
No.
you good to stay in? Okay, okay.
No, my goal was make it all the way. If there was a bribe, not touching it. My goal was like, I've already won money from other shows. I wasn't there like to just get an easy way out and take money. I was there to try to win the whole thing. So yeah, the second they said take $100,000 bribe, I fake out stepped, but I immediately stepped back and was like, that's all you guys.
Yeah.
I do have to address this because it came up in our podcast yesterday with Ian, where
Okay.
Ian said, it's going to get a little spicy here, but Ian said that multiple people said that you said you would take a bribe. Is that
Yes.
true?
That is not true. Yeah, multiple people were saying I did say that. Never did. If I was going to take a bribe, why would I tell people I was going to take a bribe? I feel like that kind of ruins the whole thing. If my goal was to go up on the bribe towers and take a bribe, I wouldn't really tell people about that, because then they wouldn't put me up there. If I was going to, I wouldn't be talking about it. So that kind of
Right.
proves that point wrong.
So do you know
Yeah.
like who started that rumor?
I have no idea. All I know is the entire, I guess, second and third episode, people kept coming up to me like, hey, people were telling me you said you were going to take a bribe. And I was like, I didn't. And I was trying to prove that wrong the entire game, pretty much. So yeah, basically the second we got in the city, the entire time after that, it's been defending myself, trying to say like, I'm not going to. And I kept getting thrown off teams, kept getting people betraying me, being like, okay, you're not on our team anymore. We're throwing you out of the side, because they heard that I was going to take a bribe. And I have no idea where that came from. So yeah, I
Wow.
spent my
So
whole game defending that
gosh.
point.
someone was being a little sneaky, trying to put a target
Yeah.
on your back instead of their own. That's
Yeah, no.
that's crazy. Yeah, and I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like that detail definitely probably had an impact on how the cubes played out. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate from
Right.
your perspective for sure.
No.
But glad we got to clear that up a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
gonna
know
be
who
Yeah.
started that, but basically everyone was telling me they heard it, and I was having to defend myself to everyone. So it would be nice to know where that came from.
Did that play a role into when it came to like choosing teams? Because I'm sure if everybody thought you're going to take a bribe, they're probably nervous about being on your same team.
I was closest to Ian and Tyler out of everybody there. We were like, Ian was the guy who, going into Vegas, like, I was already close to, just because we met in the hotel and he was like, yo, I do Ninja too. So he was already like, okay, I'm going to be in alliance with this guy, because first off, he does the same thing that I do, and we already know each other. And then Tyler, when we first got into the city, he was a guy that I really bonded with, because we would be out the two latest out of anybody at films overnight. So we would like be staying up the longest out of everybody to be able to wake up the latest the next day. And so we talked a lot in the city and got really close over that. But right when it came times to make the teams for the obstacle course, they both kind of threw me out of the way. Same with Eric. We ended up calling our team the Stragglers, because it was all the people that were kind of thrown out to the side, and we had to make our own team with all the people that were left over at the end. So yeah, it was very hard. And I'm not used to these strategic games. I'm used to just going out and having fun on the obstacle course that I've been training for my whole life. So the strategy part of that and the betrayal and everything, I was not used to all that. So it made it a lot harder. And yeah, it was definitely hard with making teams and things with like the cubes and everything, where you don't really have a ton of strong connections, because people have been kind of gossiping about you the whole time. So it made those parts a lot harder.
Yeah. And can you remind me, how old are you right now?
I'm 21.
Okay, so also being on the younger side of the group, I feel like that's also a slight disadvantage, because I don't know. I just I think it puts you in a different box than other people, you know, obviously with people who have kids, and so they bond over that. So it's definitely a difficult aspect. I remember in season 1, there were some people that, like, there was an 18-year-old that I met in Vegas, and I don't know, it puts you in a different box when you're so young. And yeah. Especially with you, with your background too, that's just a double negative, you know, like they don't want a threat in the game. So yeah, probably was hard for you to kind of figure out where you belong within these alliances, I feel like.
Yeah, it was.
So, but props to you though for going that far and like
Thank you.
being able to navigate through this game
Yeah.
with a lot of things against you, especially with rumors spreading. So props to you. So yeah, I guess going into the obstacle course a little bit more, obviously we saw you just ran straight through, like speedy as ever, which
Yeah.
very entertaining to watch. So what was did your team have a strategy going into this? Once you found out the rules, like, did they say, "Oh, you just go," like, no jousting stick? How did that all play out?
Yeah, so we had no clue what the game was going to be until we got up there and Jimmy explained it. So the second he said it's basically every man for himself, the rest of my team was like, "Okay, Vance, you go first because you can clear this thing before anybody else, and then we're gonna have the next like group mash up at the Y at the end." So their immediate response was, "Okay, you go first because you're like guaranteed to destroy anyone on this thing." So they kind of nominated me to go first, and they did rock paper scissors to determine the run order for the rest of the team. And then that plan kind of got thrown to the side when Tyler started talking on the other team, and he kind of got Eric rallied up. Eric was wanting to go head on with him, and they kept trying to tough it out from being on the opposite sides. And eventually, Eric was like, "All right, man, I need this to be able to go first and meet up with Tyler." So I was eventually like, "All right, you got it, man. Get your redemption arc going." So I let him go, and luckily he stripped the jousting stick away from Tyler, so I was able to make it after that. But yeah, the team was like they basically nominated me to go first because they knew that I could get there before anybody else, and that guarantees that we possibly have another person that can get there. Because if they're taking their jousting sticks and we're not, we could hopefully get two people to the end before somebody even gets there from the other side. So
Mhm.
that was the mindset going into it. But that all kind of went out the window when Tyler and Eric started battling it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
crazy.
was crazy to watch.
Yeah.
Crazy to watch.
So you make it out of the obstacle course. You're with your team. If you had been up there, we know you wouldn't have taken the 100K to eliminate yourself,
Mhm.
but would you have taken the million to stay in the game?
With the team that I was on, yes, just because they had been
Okay.
betraying me the entire time, but with any other team, I wouldn't have. No, my
Okay.
goal, obviously, if there's a bribe that's going to take me out, not doing it. If there's a bribe that's going to take other people out, not doing it. If there was something like the obstacle course where you could go and take the 100K and bring that along with you, of course, because there's no reason not to take that. It doesn't hurt anybody else. But yeah, my goal was make it to the end. I think the $1 million, taking $1 million is quick money. It's a good idea. Like JT, I don't blame him for taking that, but if you're trying to make it all the way, that puts a huge target on your back if you do that. So yeah, my goal was to go out, win the entire thing. I wasn't there for the money. I was gonna play strategic, even if I had the chance to go up there and take the $1 million. It's in the long run to try to win the whole thing, not the smart idea to do that.
Yeah. No, that's valid. That's valid.
Wait, I kinda had a scenario pop in my head that I wanna ask you about.
Yeah.
Regarding the obstacle course, if it wasn't like a free for all and it was still like a team aspect with the
Mm.
jousting sticks, do you think you would have like waited at the end to fight anyone or
No, especially Ian or Tyler, I would not win that fight. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm good.
Okay, yeah. That's what I listen, I wouldn't want to fight. I wouldn't want to fight anyone if I'm going to be honest, especially in that
Yeah, I do not like
scenario.
conflict, so I was trying to play the nice way, but
Yeah. Yeah. That would be me too. That would be me too.
no.
We covered episode 3 obstacle course, obviously a big part. We saw you highlighted in the bribes where you were very distrustful of
Yes.
the team at the time. So then I guess going into the cannonball search in episode 4, were you upset that you didn't get to compete for the island? Were you trying really hard to find a cannonball? What was the deal there?
Okay, so they don't show this in the show, but we were searching for about an hour for those cannonballs probably, and I
Oh
spent
my god.
probably 40 of those minutes digging in the sandpit. So
Oh my gosh.
I thought nobody had found it in the sandpit yet. I thought there would be one, so I was digging up and down the middle for like probably over half of the time that I was looking for cannonballs. And then finally at the end, when there's only two left, Jimmy says on the microphone, "All right, both of the last two cannonballs are in the sandpit." And I'm like, seriously? I've been looking there the
Oh
entire time.
no.
And so I go back to the middle, start digging again because I'm like, okay, it's got to be in here somewhere. And then, of course, it's on the two ends where I wasn't digging the entire time. So I was very upset because I was like, I was in the sand pit this entire time, and there were two in here, and I just wasn't digging in the right spots. But yeah, I was pretty sad because I wanted to be like I was there to compete. And while we were waiting for them at the island, we were just sitting in the city, just waiting for them to come back. And that was really hard for me because I was like, I need to be competing right now. Like I'm here to win this thing. And it was definitely very hard not having a chance to. So it was hard watching everybody find those cannonballs, go out to the city, and have another prize to compete for, especially because this year you weren't eliminated if you lost on the islands. That was just an extra opportunity to
Right.
try to win something. So it definitely hurt not being able to do that, especially since two of the cannonballs were right next to me the entire time and I didn't find them.
No,
Oh
I
my
can
god.
imagine that is so frustrating. And then
Yeah.
seeing, I bet like JC and people pull it up like, My gosh. Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
so upset.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah. That sucks 'cause yeah, we were talking about that, like, the sandpit. The sandpit's huge, so it's like, how
Yeah.
do you even know where to start? And, I
Especially
mean,
I was the only person digging there for, like, half of the time we were looking, so
oh my gosh,
yeah,
that
Wow.
I was not
sucks.
finding those things on the edges.
That
Oh my
sucks. And
gosh.
are you a fan of Survivor? Do you watch Survivor?
I watched Boston Rob seasons, but I haven't seen I'm not a huge reality TV person. I started watching those for when I knew I was gonna be on Beast Games. I started watching a couple seasons to
Mhm.
kinda prepare, but before that, I hadn't watched much.
So,
Okay.
were you still jealous, though, when you found out about the crossover? Like,
Yeah.
just the idea of it?
Yeah. Yeah, we knew that it was Fiji, and I was already jealous from that, but then they started showing it on the big screen, and we're like, "Oh, shoot, that's Survivor?" And I was definitely like, "Oh, that hurts even worse." Because
Right.
after
Yeah.
watching Survivor, I was like, "Oh, I would love to do that too." So, I had a chance to and missed it.
Yeah, and honestly, I
Dang.
feel like you would have been pretty good at the Get a Grip challenge if you
Yeah.
were to make it to that
Right.
point, so that's also
Yeah.
sorry to put that thought in your head, but
It's alright. I've already thought about it too much.
Well, did you do anything fun in the city while they were gone?
Yeah, we had the T-Mobile Magenta status experience the whole time. So I got a mani-pedi, I got a bunch of massages, we had, pickleball for a couple days, we had volleyball for a couple days. So, yeah, we were doing a lot in the city, but it was definitely nothing compared to competing for the island. It
Yeah,
was
I
definitely
can
still sad
imagine.
not being there, but we had some good games going on there.
Well, that's good. Good you made the most of your time while you
Yeah.
weren't there.
Yeah.
well, you yeah, why you couldn't get $1.8 million.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I guess when you were watching, were you rooting for a specific person to win, or did you prefer to have
Ooh.
someone to win?
I think out of the people there, I was rooting for Nick the most, and then yeah, Nick and August were probably the people that I wanted to, and then I would have been happy with, like, Hannah or Katie because they were super chill in the city the entire time too, so, like, I don't know. I feel like anyone but the OGs would have been good because the OGs already had their chance. We were kinda hating on them the entire game, but yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been happy with a lot of people there winning it. A lot of them are really nice.
From what I remember, did you expect JC to win the island versus
Out
Ian?
of him and Ian, yes, not overall. So they showed us in the city everything but, the tribal council at the end. So we knew who the final 2 were, but we didn't know who actually won it until they came back in the city. It was a 9-1 vote in the city that JC had won the island because Ian was
Wow.
very controversial from all of the obstacle course stuff. Yeah, there was a 9-1 vote that JC was gonna win in the city, and that's how we thought it was gonna play out when they came back, but apparently that is not at all how it played out. We were very
Yeah,
Yeah,
wrong.
it
go
was
ahead,
crazy
Ari.
seeing y'all's reaction to it because, I mean, I definitely expected as a viewer y'all to think that Ian would win. So, yeah, that was a shocker.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, that's
definitely
what
shocking.
we talked about it when we were talking to Ian about it, like, it was just shocking. It really surprised us seeing that difference of, like, how it was just a straight vote for Ian versus everyone in the city thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be JC, and I guess in a sense it was like villain versus villain, so it's like,
Mhm.
now which one do you pick? But then again, JC hasn't really been a villain in season 2, so
Exactly,
I guess you
yeah.
kind of you could expect him to be voted over Ian. So, definitely interesting to hear, and it
Yeah.
was really interesting to see JC come back into the city and spread a lot of words about what went down in Final Tribal and just,
Yeah.
like, creating that rift between, like, Ian and everyone else, so
Yeah,
very
it was
strategic on his
definitely
part.
villain versus villain, but, JC was actually very nice in person. I didn't see what went down at Travel and, like, Jeff confronting him and any of that, but he was actually a super nice guy when we were talking to him in the city. So I think all of us in the city were kinda rooting for him just because we felt like he had kind of a redemption arc because he was being so nice, but yeah, it was very interesting seeing how everything went down there.
He is such a nice, lovable person, but he's also a gamer. So it's
Yeah,
like, yes, like everyone loves him as a person, especially in season 1, he was like a quote unquote fan favorite with everyone.
yeah,
He was like almost a dad to us at least
Yeah.
before everything went down and conspired.
yeah,
But yeah, he's a very lovable person, but he's also a gamer, and that's where it's like, okay, is he a villain or is he just playing the game? So
yeah,
I think season 2 definitely shined a light on the difference in being a gamer and like or separating game from, I guess, you as a person.
yeah.
So
In regards to how JC was going around the city when he got back, spreading rumors, talking, everything, how did that like affect you at all? Was it more than just like the Ian rumors or was it just chaos?
I don't really remember talking to JC after he came back from the island, so I don't think I directly heard any of it from him, but there was definitely people talking a lot. in between when they got back and when we did the cubes that night. So I think tensions were already high just because we had been stuck in the city waiting for them to come back. And then when they finally came back, all of them like telling us how great it was and everything. And we were like, oh, we've been sitting here waiting this whole time and we wanted to go there. So I think there were definitely tensions of like probably some jealousy of us being like, we wish that we would have been there, and then them jealous that they didn't win the island. And then yeah, it was just a lot of stuff when they came back. So I don't remember directly hearing anything from JC, but I think tensions were already high no matter what. And then that
Right.
probably didn't help with that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I feel like, I don't know, they kind of choose the perfect time to have cubes right after, because it just seems like,
Yeah.
when people start talking, everyone's going to start talking. So I can only imagine the conversations that were had.
Mhm.
But before we get too deep into the cubes, let's start with like a fun question about them. It looked like you were having a good time in them. Is there anything you asked for that we didn't see on camera?
We asked for a tiger, and they
Oh
said that
my
they were going to
gosh.
bring it, but we did the game before they had it there. So if we waited a little bit longer, we would have had a tiger in the cube. But I asked for a conversation with Post Malone, and I think it was Nolan on the other end. And he said, that's above my pay grade, and hung up on
Oh
me.
my gosh.
Yeah, there were a
That's
couple
crazy.
things. We asked for a lot of stuff. We asked for cookout. We got some burgers in there. We were eating nice. We asked for a lot of stuff, and we got basically all of it. So it was fun. We were having a lot of fun in there, but eventually they were like, "All right, y'all gotta do the game and stop delaying the inevitable." So
A tiger would have been crazy. That would have been
yeah,
crazy.
I probably would have left the cube the second the tiger got there, but
I was gonna say you weren't scared of being in a enclosed cube with a tiger. Like, I don't know
I
about
probably
that.
would have left right then. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess kind of talking about your team, did you immediately know that you were gonna be with Nick and August, or how was the dynamics when you were choosing?
Yeah, so we kind of thought that they would have a twist from last year's.
Mm.
Last year it was 3 people entered the cube, 2 came out at most. If you didn't do it in the time limit, then all 3 of you got out. And we kinda thought that this year they would switch it up a little bit, and we were thinking it might be like, they hadn't done a lot of smart challenges yet. They had the blocks at the very beginning, but it's been mostly strength-based stuff since then. We were thinking, "Okay, a lot of people have been speculating on, like, an escape room this entire time. The cubes could be the perfect place to, like, we walk in, it's something we have to, like, get out of, and then it could be, like, the first blank amount of teams to get out of the cube." So I was thinking, all right, let me get with some really good strategic guys and have a really good group so that if it's kind of a team thing to get your whole entire team out of the cube, I have a good shot at doing that. And then obviously when we walked in, it was the same exact thing as before. So that kind of hurt a little bit, being like, oh man, well, I picked the best team there is here. So that definitely
Yeah,
made it
dang.
harder. But yeah, we thought that it might be a twist of like your entire team getting out of the cube rather than it being the same exact thing that it was last year. So I was trying to get the best team that I could, which
Yeah,
did
it's
not help.
yeah. It was funny seeing the behind the scenes of, like, Jeff, like, tearing up the floor, and they're like,
Oh,
"There
yeah.
has
Yeah.
to be a twist." Like, "No, guys, no twist."
We
But
thought there
it's
was guaranteed to be one, but there wasn't. So
it's fair to think that, though, just because I feel like at least through episodes 1 through 4, it's been similar to season 1, but the next level up. So it's
yeah,
fair to think there would be a twist in cubes. But I
yeah,
think the
I
idea
was
of
wrong.
cubes is just the idea of cubes is just so good that there was no need to change it, or like no
Yeah,
need to do an add-on, because it's really just about relationships and the social aspect of the game.
mm,
Which obviously, yeah, we see in your cube. As a viewer, we see Nick and August kind of working a strategy behind your back. At the time, did you clock this? Did you know this, or was it just completely unknown for you?
no, it was known. They had it look like in the edit that I said I don't want to do a vote. That's bad for me. And then me immediately being like, okay, let's do it. Right after that, there was probably an hour at least in between those.
Mm.
So I was originally like, yeah, if it's a vote, like people have been saying stuff about me this entire game, I'm not gonna win a vote. Like I'm gonna be voted out because people keep saying I'm gonna take a bribe. Like that's not a good look for me. And people know that I've won money before. Immediately, like if you've already won a show, like you don't need to be here,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I definitely knew that if it was a vote, I would have the worst chance out of everybody there. And I spent at least an hour trying to convince them let's just do some chance-based game. But yeah, eventually they were like, I kind of got them to do it based on merit a little bit. So the eventual game ended up being it was who's been the nicest this game, who's the most financially responsible with the money if they win, and who is the most skilled. And that's when I finally agreed to it because there was no changing their mind about doing a voting game, but I at least got them to do it kind of based on like how you've played the game. But I think at that point the target was just too big to where like if it was a vote, that was kind of going out no matter what. So, but there was probably at least an hour of me trying to get it to not be that. But yeah, there was no winning that vote.
Yeah, I mean, at least you put up
Yeah.
a fight,
Yeah.
trying to put yourself in the best position. It just, yeah, it does suck, especially when it's 2v1. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they
it's
were
just
so
so
close, which immediately put me at a disadvantage in there. But I thought it didn't
Yeah.
matter if it was all of us working together to get out of there. So yeah, the second
Yeah.
they announced it was normal, I was like, I kind of hurt myself by doing that. But
Dang,
can't
yeah.
change
And
it
I
now.
mean,
So
it really is like in that situation, we see, Jeff went home, AT went home, you went home because you
yeah,
won a previous prize in another show. It's everyone that has won money before. It's like, all right, guys,
yeah,
like give us our chance. And that was probably everyone's mindset. Which
yeah,
sucks for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah.
yeah. It's understandable, but it sucks.
Yeah, understandable, yeah.
After watching the episode and seeing like, what happens outside of your cube and everything, was there anything from the edit that like surprised you at all?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened in the cubes was expected. I think obviously Jeff leaving, he's a really nice guy and he's already won $10 million. Like it makes sense that he would go out the way he did. JT also makes sense. I know I was talking to him a ton before the cubes and he's a good guy. He was one of my favorite people there, and it was understandable why he took the $1 million because he wasn't really close to anybody on his team. We kind of, I don't think anybody had anybody that was stuck in the city at least while everybody was at the island. I don't think any of us had bad blood with JT, so it makes sense that he did what he did. I think Jack also tricking Sue. I did not think that was how that would go either. So there were a couple of things that were surprising, but I think most of it, like obviously, I think most of the people that got out in the cubes had already won stuff on other shows or already won stuff on Beast Games. So it was kind of the expected result for the most part.
Was there any moment watching the show that was like a really hard moment to rewatch for you specifically, or maybe just like in general?
Obviously the cubes, because that's where I got out. I think the obstacle course part was pretty hard to watch, which they didn't show a lot of the drama that went down with that. Obviously you can see the drama of Tyler and Eric and all of us kind of battling it out, but it was a lot more than what they showed. Like there was a lot of drama right there. So that was definitely hard to watch just because Tyler was kind of the person I trusted most in the game, and he came up to me. He was the one that actually told me that Ian was trying to kick me off of the team originally. And he came up to me when we were walking late in the city, and he was like, "Hey, they're like trying to get you off the team. People are saying you're going to take bribes, but I don't believe them. You're like my ride or die. I think not having the Ninja Warrior champion on my team would be stupid. So if they kick you off, like I'll make another team with you." And so he was kind of the person I was closest to because he was the guy that told me that people were saying all this stuff about me in the first place. That's kind of how I found out. And he was like, even if you're off the team, I'm sticking with you kind of thing. So that was really hard with him kind of leaving me out like that. And then after the obstacle course, they don't show this either. They had their team, they were trying to joust everybody on the other team off, right? After the game, I came up to Tyler and I asked him, like, hey, if I got there and you were already at the Y with your stick, like if Eric didn't rip the stick out of your hand and I got there next, would you have hit me off? And he said yes. And I was like, dang, that kind of hurts because I thought we were super tight, like ride or die going through this thing together. But he was like, yeah, I would have hit you off right there. So that was hard in person and it was hard to watch, especially because they didn't show a lot of it. So I was kind of hoping that they would show more of that playing out. So that's not why it hurt watching it, but that was probably the part that sucked the most watching because Tyler, I felt like was the guy I was closest to.
Dang. Yeah, that's really interesting to hear. And that, yeah, that's unfortunate for you,
Yeah.
just like watching it back. And it sucks that, like viewers don't perceive it the same way as you do because certain things weren't included. And, that happens with every reality TV show. But yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, you get to address it here on the podcast. So now the world will know. Now the world will know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess wrapping up episode 5 before we lean into just like overall questions in general, do you feel like you were eliminated because you were a threat or more so because like you weren't as socially visible compared to Nick and August? Like, where do you think it leans more toward?
I think it's a mix of both. Obviously, basically everyone at that point knew that I had won other shows before, but also I'm not the kind of guy to go and be fake and talk to every single person there just to get them to like me. Like I'll have my group of people that I am actually friends with and I'll kind of stay close to them. Like There's a clip in the cues where Sue says, Vance hasn't said 2 words to me. I didn't know who she was from Survivor before that, and I didn't know that she was really in the game because I hadn't gone and talked to her group of people until they made it to the island, and then she was gone at the island the entire time. So there were people that I hadn't talked to just because I didn't really know the group of people that they were hanging out with. But yeah, I think it was a mix of both. I wasn't trying to go and talk to everybody, and people knew that I had already won other shows. They were like, if he's won other shows, there's no need to win this one. And I also don't know him at the same time. So there's no connection to keep him. So I think it was definitely a mix of both.
Yeah. And so do you, in a sense, regret not talking to as many people? Or do you stand by how you played?
For getting out of the game, yes. But also, Ninja Warrior is not the same kind of competition. Ninja Warrior, it's actually surprising. It's an individual sport. It's one person on the course, but we're all kind of a team working together. So if one person falls on an obstacle, they'll come back to the group and be like, hey, don't do this, even though that'll make you end up beating them if you do it a different way and end up clearing the obstacle. So that's very much a team sport, and everyone's kind of a community, and we're all super tight, even though we only see each other a couple times a year. And this is very different because the mindset is kind of yeah, I can be in a team to get to the end, but people are also thinking all for themselves at the same time. So I wasn't trying to, I don't know, I was trying to be myself and make actual connections rather than just going out to be nice to everybody just to get them to like me. So I don't know, it's just, I'm not used to that kind of social game where you have to kind of make friends with everybody. I kind of have my group of people, and it was the same in Beast Games. I wasn't trying to do something different on just because it's a different show. Because you saw Jeff last year, he didn't need to do anything special to get to the end. So I was kind of trying to play that game of actually being myself and not being fake, just trying to make friends with everybody. But in the queues, that definitely hurt.
Yeah.
Might not have been the right choice, but I'm sticking with it.
Following along about being friends, after seeing episode 5 now and experiencing it in real time, would you say you, Nick and August, are all still friends?
Yeah, they didn't
Good.
they didn't do anything super shady in the queues. Obviously, they were doing that stuff when I was looking at the camera and stuff. But it's a game. You gotta be okay with that kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah, I would say we don't talk a ton, but I have nothing against them. So they were just playing a game. Everyone there was playing a game. You can't hate anybody for that. So
See, and that's what's so interesting from season 2 versus season 1, because it's I'm not saying in any way August and Nick are like the Habibi brothers, but
yeah,
the Habibi brothers were, well, not Kareem, but more so Hazem, were making faces at the camera, doing it behind her back. And
mm,
in a sense, that's kind of the same thing. And then same situation with Jack and Sue and Tyler. They did the same thing as the Habibi brothers too. And so I feel like Jack will definitely be perceived as a villain moving forward, assuming everyone else in the city knows what he did, which I don't
mm.
know if that will be the scenario. But I don't think Nick and
I
August will be
know.
seen as a villain. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just interesting to see. It depends on who the people are, and it depends, I guess, how they talk, how they play the game for a viewer to perceive them as a villain. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just interesting to compare different cubes now that more people have went through the cubes. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
there can definitely be villains in any game, but at the same time, it is still a game. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fair game in
Yeah.
there. Anything's allowed.
Right. And I feel like Beast Games is pivoting a lot from, it's all about, season 1 was all about being a nice person and whatever, where season 2, it's just getting more competitive, more cutthroat. And that's what the
Yeah.
viewers want to see. So I think
Yeah.
it's moving in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what season 1 was like. My friend was on the first few episodes, but he didn't make it. The Tower of 4 Levels game, that's where he got out in the less is more challenge. So he wasn't in a lot of it, so I don't really know what season 1 was like, but season 2 was definitely cutthroat, a lot of drama, a lot of rumors and lies being spread. It was definitely very, very aggressive. So I don't know if season 1 was like that, but season 2 was definitely very, very rough for the social game.
Yeah, I
Dang.
couldn't imagine, honestly. Because season 1, look, once the Habibi brothers were formed as the villains and everyone heard about their cube, that was the only story we heard about. So everyone just teamed up against them, and they were honestly pretty unaware of it because they didn't know that everyone knew what happened in their cube. But it's almost like in season 1, it's just like a herd. I don't know how to say it. A herd of sheep, we pinpoint one villain and everyone's like, okay, we're just against them. Cause it's at that point,
Yeah.
we don't want to be perceived like these people. So let's just be against them. I don't know if that just made sense, but yeah, it just felt like we found one villain and stuck with it, instead of
Yeah.
pointing at other people throughout the game. So
Yeah, I think in season 2, since everyone was so worried after watching season 1 being so bribe forward, like you could take a bribe and eliminate your whole row in the first episode, I think that made everyone pretty scared. So when we got to the city, you couldn't go 2 minutes without hearing that somebody was gonna take a bribe the second we got to the city because everyone was talking like, "What's your number?" All this kind of stuff. And I think that made it very easy to be very nervous about certain people because obviously people would say things that would go around the entire city. There was only 100 of us at that point, so word spread pretty quick. So I think that's definitely probably where the me taking a bribe thing came from because if all of this is spreading anyways, you can get a quick line out there and it spreads and nobody knows who it came from because it spreads so quick. It's a
Mhm.
easy way to get a target on somebody's back even if they didn't actually say something. So I think that's definitely probably something that was different this year is we knew what the game was last time being so bribe forward. So that was kind of a huge topic right when we got to the city and it made it very easy to put targets on people's back that kind of stuck with them through the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting
Yeah,
to
no.
hear how season 1 had an impact on people's strategy going into season 2, and then it kinda switched up. Like, when we were talking about Ian too about it, it's like you're going in with a strategy of, "Oh, everyone needs to like me because there's so much
Hmm.
luck-based challenges," but then the season immediately switched to, "You wanted skill-based, and now you have it," so
Yeah.
everyone's strategy changed, and I feel like that maybe just caused a lot of scramble within the city. It's like, "Okay, well, now what strategy do I do? Do I be
Hmm.
likable or do I be more competitive?" So, yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
decision each player had to make going into the game.
Talking more about your gameplay, is there anything that they maybe didn't show that you want viewers to understand about the way you played?
I have no idea. I know they didn't show most of the arguments between the obstacle course teams. They were kind of going around. Every single person would on the team would say something about the other team betraying us. It was going back and forth, and every time the camera came to me, I was like, "I'm good. I don't want to talk about this. I did not want to be part of the conflict. I was just trying to stay out of it." Which clearly they didn't show much of my conflict on there because I didn't really say anything about it. But I think that's kind of the only thing that didn't get shown in the actual game. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in the city behind the scenes that doesn't get shown just because there's weeks of footage that can't all be put on there. But I don't think there was anything in particular. I know I was just kind of hanging out with my group and we were playing a lot of poker, a lot of games together. So yeah, it was pretty much, I don't know if there was anything big that didn't get shown like that. So,
Okay, I'm gonna actually change that question up a little bit. And is there any like funny moments that maybe weren't included in the edit that you wish people could have seen?
okay. Funny moments. There was at the very beginning, like a few days into the city, we had this smart kid, his name was Rahel, and he did not like the smell of the smart guys' dorm, so he started rooming with with the strong guys, and eventually he wanted to switch over to our team, so we had like a whole initiation for him to get onto the strong team. And I set up the set, I set it like a wedding, and there were like people throwing meat sticks instead of like flowers on the altar. There were two smart team members walking him down the aisle, and they handed him off to Eric, who carried him the rest of the way, and it was like this giant wedding to make
Oh my
Rahel
gosh.
member of the strong team. So that was probably the funniest moment of the entire game, and it didn't make the cut, which was very sad because I wanted to watch that.
Man, that would have been good. That would have been
That was
I feel like
hilarious.
it's so unfortunate because I feel like there's so many human moments when you're like living together in that kind of situation. And it's just so sad to not see them and like we may never see that footage.
Yeah, I would pay
But
money to watch that. It was
yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah, we definitely me and Ava have like a lot of stories that we just wish we could pay somebody to just sneak us the footage of those
Yeah,
moments. So yeah, it's good. I'm glad you got to share it. So now it's out there in the world and people
yeah.
know.
Now they have to find the footage.
Yeah, now they have to
Yeah,
find
they
it.
have to go look. And you know that we're filming too, so it's like, dang, like, just
Yeah.
send it to me
Well, yeah,
or
I
send
was
it.
Yeah,
setting up a set and I was like setting up the chairs and everything, and one of the story producers walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're having a initiation for Rahel joining the strong team." And he's like, "Why didn't you tell us?" And then they bring like 100 cameras over and film the whole thing. So they definitely have footage of it.
my last question for you is would you compete again?
Definitely. Yeah, especially
Okay.
now that I know kind of the strategic gameplay of how people were acting there, and now that I'm, like, expecting all of that, I would definitely do it again. So, I think season 2, I had a great time, it was amazing, but I wasn't prepared for the cutthroatness of, like, how rumors were spreading and everything, and I think now that I understand that part of it and know what I'm getting myself into, it would be easier coming into it again. So, yeah, I would definitely love to be back, and I applied for season 3. I think they're saving repeat competitors for special occasions, so I'm hoping that they have me as the hero versus villain season, put me back up
Yes.
against Ian up there. So,
That would be good. That would be good.
Yeah, that would be crazy. All-star season, anything like that. I feel like you
Yeah,
definitely
I would
have a
love to
good
come back, though.
chance. Yeah, so that would be awesome to see. Any piece of advice for future players of Beast games, or I guess to anyone in general, since you just have a lot of experience being on camera?
Yeah. I mean, being on camera, you get used to it at some point, especially in the city. There's cameras on you 24/7, so eventually you kind of get used to that. But my main piece of advice would just be yourself. Like, obviously for me that didn't work just because people knew that I won other shows. But for Jeff winning last season, he wasn't being fake the entire time he was there. He was true to what he believed in, and you can win it by doing that. So yeah, I would even if you do go out like I did, like I don't regret having been myself and not trying to be fake and act like I'm something I'm not for people to like me. So even looking back on it, I can be like, oh, that sucks that I got out that way, but at least I wasn't fake the entire time I was there. So I think just be yourself, and no matter how it goes, you can be happy with how everything went. So not happy
I
I
love
lost
that.
out on $1.8 million and $5 million, but I'm happy that I played my game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
That's the best advice you can give to people going on reality TV, be yourself, because people
Yeah,
are going to clock like if you're being fake or not. So, and I feel
yeah,
like it's definitely visible. You can definitely tell people who put it on for the camera. So,
yeah.
great
You can
advice.
definitely tell who the fake people there were.
Yeah, I feel like we honestly covered a lot of your game. So, it was really great hearing your point of view and your
Thank you.
perspective. And it was nice for us to be able to clear up the confusion that we had as viewers, where it's like in the beginning, you were such like, oh, everyone loves Vance, to episode 5, where it's like, oh, wait, no, like we want him out.
Yeah,
Weird
that
to
was
see.
kind of around the time where word got around that I won another show. So
Right, right. Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. Thank you so much for listening to another podcast episode with me and Ivy. We're so happy to have Vance on the podcast. If you enjoyed listening, make sure to like this podcast, subscribe to our channel, and comment down below who else you want to see on the podcast. But besides that, that's all we have for now.
See ya.